everyone, my name's Emma. Today we are talking about how conflict in all shows and movies is really connected. When it comes to choices and decisions, the ones that we make with more intention will help us create the world that we want to live in. So we talk about here on this channel, how can we overcome at every point in our life by creating better choices? Conflict in movies and shows is often created through the same main point, that some character hasn't been able to deal with something that occurred in their past, and the experience of that usually overshadows whatever opportunity is presented to them, whether it be a person to date, a job opportunity. A lot of times the characters are held back because of their past. And though these are movies and shows, this often happens in our own lives. I know that I have had to, in this past year, face my past very directly in order to overcome it and actually understand why so many patterns seem to be coming up in my own life, and how I kept having the same relationship with different people. Relationships meaning friendships and almost any other kind of connection that you can have with someone. So how did I overcome that? How do the characters in the movies overcome that? There's usually one of two ways. They either fully go through their past and they figure it out and understand it and then move on, or they just choose to move on right away and just let it go and not think about it anymore and just choose a different path. And that is one of two ways that we can also create changes in our own life and not be held back by a past that no longer exists. Too many of us spend time wishing that our past was better, that it did this for us or it did that. But the thing is, everything you've gone through has gotten you to this moment. And no matter what it was that you went through, it got you here. And isn't that the most important? I was looking through my own past and reflecting and journaling and writing out the gratitude list and writing the limiting beliefs down, and through all of that I just realized that no matter what it was that I went through, I'm grateful for the person that I am today, and whatever experiences I had to go through, it made me who I am, and I wouldn't trade that for the ability to change my past, because if I was to change my past, I don't know who I would become if the outcomes were any different than they currently are. And because we can't change our past, the only thing we can control is the choices we make right now. How can we consider the consequences of our choices just a little bit more to make sure that when we are looking back at our past, we are understanding that we decided this, that even if that choice we made wasn't the greatest, we ended up making it and it helped us get closer to who we are today. And the thing about choices is that until you fully decide on one, you won't completely know the consequences of it. And that's hard because we want to have control over the decisions that we make completely, but we can only use certain clues as to what is going to get us to that choice. Some choices are easier, at least theoretically. We know that if we work out more, if we eat the fruits and vegetables more, we will feel healthier. That's a consequence that we are usually very aware of. But other consequences, like if I take this job versus another, if I date this person versus another, sometimes even if we have all the information that we could possibly get, there's always other information that we don't have to make those decisions at that time. And the thing is, we just need to do the best that we can with what we know right now. And as new data arises, we can make new decisions then. And we're never truly stuck in anything that we decide. There's always a way out of pretty much everything. As long as we are alive, there is hope. And because of that, we need to think about the decisions we make, but we also don't have to feel overly burdened by whatever choice we make. Every choice we end up making teaches us something new about ourselves, and that experience in and of itself should be worthy of the ability to make those choices. And we should make choices to at least have more information that we can work with. If you don't know if you want to continue talking to this person, or you don't, you either do or you don't, whichever way you choose, you're either going to find more information either way you choose. So really, at the end of the day, what's meant for you isn't going to pass you by. If something is meant to be in your life, it will be. If something came and it went, it's because it wasn't supposed to stay. And most of the time, most experiences we have aren't meant to stay. It's very rare that we'll have something that truly is forever except for ourselves, which is why the mindset that we have is so important. And understanding how we got to think the way that we do today is really important for us to move forward. We need to understand how we got to this point if we want to move forward from it. But we shouldn't be burdened and trapped if we feel that way. And oftentimes, looking through your past, you're not going to fall into this hole where you will never crawl back out of. But it will be helpful to look at the different things that you enjoyed, the different things that were difficult to go through. And by doing that, we're able to overcome and to learn, and with that new information we can make new decisions. If we realize that all the relationships we have in our life are trying to redo the original relationships that we had in our life, which is oftentimes what it is that's happening, we can then have more information to look at. All right, am I actually interested in this person because I'm interested in them, or am I interested in this person because I'm trying to reflect and change something, and it's not that I'm truly attracted to them, but something about them is reminding me of my past, a past that I want to subconsciously redo. But if you step back and you realize, well, I can't redo that original relationship, is the person that is in front of me right now compatible with the person that I understand myself to be right now? And we can't project into the future either. We can't hope that somebody will someday turn into the person we want them to be, because most of the time people are who they are, and unless there is something really deep-rooted inside of them that wants to change, it's not going to happen because you want to will it into action, if you want to wish it to life. So we have to be very aware of why we're making choices, because those choices in turn make us. And in effect, we need to understand that if we're choosing something, there may be reasons that have already occurred in our life that we're choosing to do this. And if we don't get very comfortable with understanding why we're doing what we're doing, how can we ever truly project our lives into a different direction that we want it to go if we don't understand why we're in the projection that we are currently in? We can always pivot and shift and change, but if we don't understand why we're already on the course that we are, why would we be able to know how to get off of that course? And it is through doing the hard work of sitting with your emotions and your past. And yes, we can also choose to just say, I'm not going to be affected by my past anymore, but to an extent, we need to realize what parts of our past we no longer want to be affected by. And oftentimes, you can look through relationships and see patterns, and if you just sit with it a little longer, you'll see what they're connected to. I did that myself, and now I feel like I've really deep-rooted and looked at everything, and I'm sure more limiting beliefs will come up, because we don't really understand limiting beliefs until we just live life and one of them arises. And when they come, and I'm sure that they will, I will be able to stop and talk to myself and talk with that event and understand, hey, this isn't what I want to do anymore. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel like I'm inadequate, like I'm not worthy. And because of that, I'll be able to just stop. And of course, it's not easy. It's much easier said than done, right? The best quote out there, but another one is that the only constant in life is that there is change. And yes, change can be hard, and change is really grief to an extent of you have to let go of the life that you once had in order to step into this new one. And it's difficult, but we can do it. And it's our life's work to reevaluate where we stand, where we once did, and how do we get to where we want to go. There's different steps that need to be taken, and this conflict is something that is constantly shadowed in the movies and shows that we watch, and oftentimes it's a very quick change. Oh, they don't want to be with this person, they don't want to think this thing anymore, and it goes away. Real life is a little more complicated than that, but in essence, it's almost the same. We have to look at it understand it, acknowledge it, and then move on from it. Whether we like really go through our past or we kind of do and then move on, there's always that moving on point that we need to do, and we need to really get comfortable with changing our choices as information arises. We need to be comfortable with doing that if we want to create this new world, this new life for ourselves. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you have some insight when you go and watch a show and or movie, and really look at what's going on and analyze it, and we can learn lessons from everything in life. And it's all data, and we can make new decisions once we have more data, more information. Thank you for being here and spending some time with me. Hope to see you soon. But until then, have an amazing day.